everyone. Welcome to another brand new live episode of Strong Style here on the Outlaw Nation channel. I am the Outlaw John Rocha, joined as always by my brother down there in Orlando, Aaron Turner. How are you, man? How are things?
Good. I cut my finger on a butter knife, so
What?
that's how my How do you even do that? But that's how my day's going. Thoughts and prayers to like
Please.
90% of the country for what's
yeah.
going on with all that cold and stuff. Jeez,
Yeah.
man, I can't say the same for myself. Hope everybody's got power and hope everything's going well.
I mean, you're used to, in the state of Florida, you're used to getting thoughts and prayers from other places in the country. So it's kind of interesting that the shoe's on the other foot now over there in Texas and on the East Coast. A number of places up in the northern areas of the East Coast enduring some, and some of the Midwest as well, Aaron, for sure.
Texas is getting slammed. I mean, it's really bad. Texas seems to me, and I could be wrong, like the worst weather state. Like it's nothing but flooding and tornadoes and. It just seems like the worst.
Well, that's why it's tough to be a Texan. You got to be tough to be a Texan. That's what I've heard. That's what I've been told. So that makes sense to me on so many levels. Now you look at all this kind of situation happening. But to anybody who's joining us because their power came back on, thank you very much. And you're joining us here live on Strong Style to talk about so many things going on in the world of pro wrestling. We'll talk a little bit about the Vengeance Day fallout. Is Kyle O'Reilly actually hurt or not? We'll talk about where Tessa Blanchard might be going, Cat and Zaro. And speaking of getting slammed, we're going to find out if Sting is all right after getting power bombed and slammed onto the mat by Brian Gage, who looked scary. It looked scary for sure. And Tony Schiavone had some words about it as well. Then later on in the show, we're going to do our Elimination Chamber preview and prediction. So get ready for that. But in the meantime, thank you all so much for joining us live. And please remember, the Streamlabs and the Super Chats are open. The address right above Aaron's head there, something like there. And then also in the description of the video as well. So please, and I'll pin it in the chat here real soon. So please send in your support for the show as we go along. All right, Aaron, where should we start?
Might as well start with, excuse me, the comments and the happenings of Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole. If you caught our NXT TakeOver Vengeance Day watch along, which you should have,
yes,
we witnessed the ending of the Undisputed Era as we know it, as Adam Cole super kicking Finn Balor, not only him, but Kyle O'Reilly as well. Yeah. After Kyle O'Reilly decided to help Finn Balor up after his great match with Pete Dunne. Yeah. Adam Cole did not appreciate that, and bam, right in the face he goes. So that was the setup for NXT this week. Okay, what's the fallout going to be between Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly? Kyle O'Reilly calls out Adam Cole. He gets Roderick Strong instead, and then a match was made for later in the night, which had Finn Balor, Kyle O'Reilly, and Roderick Strong versus Oney Lorcan, Danny Burch, and Pete Dunne.
Yeah.
And the end of it, we had Adam Cole actually did show up. And gave Kyle O'Reilly a suplex or a brainbuster onto the stairs, which caused O'Reilly to be put out of the match, and Pete Dunne ended up hitting the bitter end on Finn Balor to get the pin, the 1-2-3. Yeah. But more importantly, a lot of pictures surfaced after the event. Yeah. That Kyle O'Reilly may have actually suffered a seizure for real, not a joke. And that he, is worth noting that he is a type 1 diabetic. So yes. that is a very big concern when you have that affliction or that ailment. So a lot of people were concerned with the actual health of Kyle O'Reilly, but it came out early on Thursday. I think Ryan Satin was the first person to report it, that he heard that Kyle O'Reilly, it was all a work, that Kyle O'Reilly is just a really good actor, and that he is fine, and there's nothing wrong with him. So there's no need to be worried. But what are your concerns here, and what did you think of the fallout between the Undisputed Era?
Yeah, let's take a look at some of these pictures here real quick, Aaron, as I have them up there. There's the tweet that was initially dropped here, and you're taking a look at some of these shots here from behind, or from the side, rather, through the cage. Of course, people being kept away because of the COVID situation. But you see him strapped to this gurney. You see Triple H out there with him as well. Of course, this is right after the incident happened. You see Adam Cole, baby, up there holding the belt. And then you see the reactions, and look at him just laid out there looking like he's completely out I will say this. I thought it was believable when I saw it. My father is a type 2 diabetic, was a type 2 diabetic. And so seeing someone react to this in a certain way wouldn't necessarily be out of the realm of surprise. That being said, though, I think we did get worked. I think it was part of the overall story angle. And Triple H coming out only adds to that seriousness of it. Look, I mean, like, Foley, we weren't getting worked by Foley, but certainly the gurney was there and being used in a certain way by Foley after in that Undertaker match, the Hell in a Cell, when he rolled off of that thing. We've seen other people go in the back with supposedly real injuries that are just part of a work overall. So I'm not so, and we see people feign injuries in matches all the time as part of the storyline. So for me, I'm not sure how a kick in the face would bring on a diabetic seizure, or I understand being slammed on your back on a steel steps might induce something, but since Kyle's been doing it for so long, it would surprise me that all of a sudden this combo of hits, as considering how many insane hits he's taken in the ring, would cause this kind of a reaction. So dangerous thing to walk the line here because he is a diabetic, but in the end, it was a work, and it just sells the angle all the more. Don't you think, Aaron?
Oh, yeah. It's going to be a hell of a match when these two finally get together. That'll probably be your WrestleMania weekend NXT matchup, I imagine. So that's going to be dope as hell when they finally get together. These dudes have wrestled all over the United States against each other. I mean, Ring of Honor, PWG. These guys have had some great matches. So I can't wait to see that. And maybe finally Kyle O'Reilly will get out of that shadow a little bit of the Undisputed Era, as he did in those couple matches with Finn Balor. But Kyle O'Reilly, by far, maybe other than Adam Cole, of course, has the most star potential into the Undisputed Era. I mean, Roderick Strong and Bobby Fish are both great, but Kyle O'Reilly is another level from those guys, I think. Yeah. And it's hard to get out of Adam Cole's shadow because he kind of feels like, a lot of people call him the second coming of Shawn Michaels, like he's Shawn Michaels' golden boy. So if Kyle can break out and do that, I would love to see it. Our buddy Ryan Satin, it's like his favorite wrestler, Kyle O'Reilly. So I'm ready to see it.
Yeah, and we'll see. And of course, this will either launch one of them, you imagine, over into Raw or SmackDown. If this program works out really well, you imagine one of them at least will make the move, if not both of them, for sure. But I think another part of this is Finn Balor walking behind, really kind of selling the authenticity. And he looked very, very serious as they were wheeling him back there and what have you. So do you think there's any remote possibility that it was real and then just calling it a work now because he's checked out fine and he's agreed to let it be a work? What do you think?
No, I think it was a work all along. I don't think why would you do such a thing? Like, why would you get everybody around the universe, even Renee Young, who's not even with the WWE, like, posted, I hope Kyle O'Reilly's okay. Like, why would you get people all riled up about that just to be like, haha, fooled you? I could see if this, I could see if this was like an injury, he got cut or he might have a broken jaw or something, but to have like a seizure on the ground, like, that's something completely different. So you don't want to be doing that to people at all.
Right. Well, why even have the seizure though, Aaron? Why go that route with it? Do you think it was just kind of like, because Kyle O'Reilly's taken an incredible amount of hits in the ring. Why a seizure all of a sudden? Why would this sell the angle better than just getting laid out by Cole?
Well, I don't even know if he had like a seizure per se. That's just rumor that was heard because a lot of this stuff happened off air. So a lot of this that nobody saw, like, we saw pictures, saw a few videos of him, like what looked like might be a seizure. So I don't know. I mean, it wasn't for the main USA crowd anyway. So
good point.
I don't know.
Okay. All right. Where are we going next, my man?
Well, real quick, I saw this pop up in the chat and you actually texted me about this. What do you think about Zoe Stark?
I thought she was fantastic I didn't know who she was. And then I watched, I just was randomly, scrolling through Twitter and WWE NXT, which I follow, tweeted some videos, a few minutes or a few seconds of videos of her during a match. And I was like, oh, who is this? And I texted you about it because I like the look of her. I like she's got a smaller, kind of stronger frame. And people seem to be really high on her. She doesn't have that many followers on social media. So I was just like, who is this? Someone new they're bringing on? And then I watched some of that. I went back and watched some of that match and really enjoyed her work in that match. So I think she's one to keep like your eye on a little bit. She's still young, still somewhat green, but someone that could be an exciting performer for NXT going forward. What was your reaction?
I don't know how NXT keeps doing it, but they just keep replenishing that female division that they have in NXT. Rhea Ripley goes away, Bianca Belair goes away, and they refill it with Zoe Stark and possibly Taya Valkyrie. So,
yeah.
I mean, they got a lot going on in the NXT women's division. I thought she was awesome. And I love that like tilt-a-whirl knee to the face or whatever that was.
Yeah.
That was some craziness. So, excited to see what she does. Now that we don't have the Mae Young Classic, for the time being, we get to see these different female talents come through, and every once in a while they stick. And I think she's one that will stick. She looks like a very talented athlete, so I'm excited to see what she can bring.
It seems like she's got a little bit of the Alexa Bliss kind of look to her mixed in with the Charlotte Flair approach. Do you know what I'm saying? And so I like that combo in one person. And if they can make it work for her, why not? Let her kick some ass up there in NXT and let us enjoy some of those matches with her. And clearly a lot of people were talking about her afterwards. So, and you're right, that finisher is brutal. It reminded me of these old N64 WWE games where the finishers were incredibly brutal for sure to watch in a video game.
Yeah, it's almost like an arcade game. It's like an arcade finisher. So.
And then bam. Yeah.
All right, well, let's move on. Let's talk about the Stinger taking a power bomb from Brian Cage on AEW Dynamite. Don't be getting confused with the big story of the week was that Jim Ross called Kenny Omega the WWE champion live on AEW Dynamite. Just forget about that. I can't believe that happened.
He's an old man. What do you want?
Good God. Okay, real quick. Hold on. Let me stop you right there. Yes, he is an old man. Yes. And I've said for a long time, I love JR.
Yeah.
All-time legend. Love the guy.
Sure.
It's time. Get out of here. Like,
I agree.
I'm so done. I'm done. And he keeps making these mistakes, and these things keep happening, and people just give it like, he's an old guy. It's just JR. It's just a little mistake. Dude, GTFO. Like, Tony Schiavone is doing just fine. Like, you don't hear Tony
that far behind him.
But you don't hear Tony making these mistakes like Jim Ross does. So I don't know if it's just like quick, too much going on in his head real quick. He's not concentrating. Yeah. I don't know what that is. I don't know if they just maybe don't rely that much on Tony to bring anything to the booth. But I get so annoyed when I hear like JR like screw ups or making inappropriate comments about Anna Jay. Like I just get so annoyed with JR. Like I love the guy, but it's like, let's go.
Yeah,
let's go.
But look, he's always unapologetically been himself, and you're right. Aaron, he's a lifer. I mean, he was back in the 70s, for God's sakes, and doing it through the 80s, 90s, and what have you. So now I think I agree with you. I think, and I've been saying this for the last 10 years, to be honest with you. Hearing him on NJPW made me not want to watch NJPW matches when he's been on there because he's so boring. No offense to JR, was great in his prime, but the last few years, man, he's been it just doesn't bring any excitement when you call it a match. Yes, you know this as a lifelong wrestling fan. Part of the excitement of a match is the audience, the wrestlers, and the people calling the matches. They elevate the match sometimes. I mean, JR used to be able to do that. My God, they broke him in half. Speaking of the Hell in a Cell match, that's an iconic line from JR that elevated the importance of that match and the legendary status of that match. But when you're at that point at the end where you're forgetting what federation you're even working for and all of that, it just kind of hits a wall. We've seen that with sports announcers in the past as well. Aaron, some of the older sports announcers, before they started replacing them a little bit quicker, they would fumble over names and fumble over the wrong teams and all this kind of stuff. And people would just be like, they're old. But we're moving too fast now as a society to be okay with stuff like that. And it doesn't mean, he shouldn't have a position with the company. Why not just move on and have a position with the company? But it's time. Yeah. It's more than time, man. More than past time.
Plenty of things for JR to do backstage than, go out on commentary. I know that he wants to do that. Maybe make him a backstage announcer like he used to be in WCW. Maybe do something like that. But, help produce television. He did that for many years.
Yeah.
Be the talent relations guy. I don't know if you want to do that still, but whatever. But it just doesn't I mean, I hate to even say this because I don't really like his commentary either, but I just feel like Taz would be better at this point than Gerard. Okay. Yeah, I hate to even say that. Yeah. And no, they're not bringing in Mauro Ranallo, Christian. Come on.
I wish.
Stop it. Yeah, I do wish too. But anyway, we're talking about Sting here. We're talking about the singer.
How about John Rocha? Bring in John Rocha. God damn it. I'll bring it to life. All right. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. Well, Sting took a big power bomb from Brian Cage on Dynamite. Sting came out and confronted Team Taz and ended up taking that power bomb. Worth noting, this is Sting's first big bump in AEW. Are we okay with a 61-year-old Stinger taking a power bomb from a gigantic Swolverine motherfucker like Brian Cage?
Yeah, I mean, it's a fair point, to be honest with you. And I don't know how much of that AEW after hours thing that Shivani hosts, how much of that is actually true, what Shivani is saying, because Shivani said that he was actually scared for Sting, but that Sting wanted to do it because he thinks it's what's best for business. But you saw, I mean, it was just one kick and he was picking him up. You know what I'm saying? And that was weird to me to see. By the way, Sting doesn't look 61. He looks fantastic for 61, right? So you see it gets that kick, but I think a couple of more hits would have sold that a little bit better because Gage is doing his best. He's lining him up. He's waiting for Sting to bend the knees, and then he picks him up. But to Cage's credit, he doesn't let him go, right? He puts him down, but he puts him down with force. And it looked like it really hurt. But yes, you start to worry how much of those he can take. And is this a stubborn man thing where you're like, no, I'm not going out like that. I'm not going out like a bitch. I'm going to take my hits if I'm coming back. But I mean, how many more of these can he endure before something bad happens to him? So to me, it was cool and not cool at the same time. I was happy he wasn't hurt, but looking at it made me very uncomfortable to watch, especially because Cage is so goddamn big.
Yeah, he's a massive human. He is not a man. He is a machine. That is for sure. But I think Gramash said that he dropped the bat, dropped his gloves, and Sting went in with his fist like a man.
Yeah,
went after him, and that's what happens when you go after him with a man. You get power bombed by like a 35-year-old guy, and that's just how it goes. But I was scared when I saw the bump. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, holy crap, we're just really gonna get into it. But the way that he took it, and Sting didn't look like he had any ill effects. Yeah. Apparently after the match or after the confrontation, nothing wrong at all. Okay. So if they can keep doing it and Sting can keep taking them, give it to him, man. He had that back injury in WWE, but that was like 5 years ago at this point. Yeah. And Shawn Michaels recovered from a serious back injury after 5 years. Sure. So I mean, it's very possible that time heals all wounds, and I know that he is 61. Let's not that cannot be understated enough that he is 61. But maybe that back has mended enough where he can get through this in a couple more matches, and maybe we're just overstating that he's 61. I don't know. I don't know.
Fair point, Aaron. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Why does it have to be Cage? Why can't it be like who
else you want it to be?
Yeah, some other wrestler that's not big. Some other wrestler that's more of a, let's just say more of a high flyer type thing. Have him do some bumps in the ring for that stuff. Taking a power bomb from someone like Cage is just super scary, man. So I don't know, but I guess Sting wanted to do it to prove that he was okay. But I don't think that's ever going to go away, Aaron. There's just seeing him stumble around the ring after Rollins threw him into that power bomb. You're just never going to get that image out of your mind. It's always going to scare you as you're watching it, So we'll see.
Yeah, it could have happened to anybody, though. Let's be honest. Could have happened to anybody.
Okay, if you say so. Let's get into some Streamlabs and Super Chats here before we move on, my man. Hill Nellums, good to see you, Hill. Nice to see you from the beginning here, brother, man. He said, happy Friday, guys. O'Reilly's tweet made me at ease. As much as that hurt and sucked last night, the betrayal was worse. Coming back from this stronger and with a thirst for revenge, best served cold. Can't wait for Cole versus O'Reilly to be reignited. Yeah. Kyle O'Reilly with that tweet kind of putting everybody at ease on this situation. So, yeah, right.
Yeah. So, yeah, thank God for that, because there for a minute, like when I of course, like, here on the East Coast, NXT goes off at 10. I'm in bed by 10. Like, I'm done. Yeah. So I watched the end of NXT. I went to sleep. Then I wake up and it's like, oh, Kyle O'Reilly had a seizure. I'm like, oh shit, like this is pretty serious. And then like as the day went on, like around noontime, like I guess Ryan woke up and then found out what happened and then tweeted about it. So Yeah, I'm glad that Kyle O'Reilly did say that, because there for a minute, for a good like 2 to 3 hour period, I was like, oh, okay, I hope he's all right.
Yeah, it looks serious. Justin Toner, good to see you, Justin. He said people who took the pictures in person started the seizure thing. They thought he had one. No one from WWE or anyone else said seizure. Officially, WWE released videos showing the stretcher job and saying he had a neck injury, was not medically cleared. That's right. Yeah, I did see that for sure. So there you go. Yeah, so I guess it was started by people ringside. But aren't the people ringside aren't they're all fans of NXT and WWE? Right. Aren't they selected, or are those tickets on sale for anybody?
You are selected. So the way the process is working right now is if you have purchased a ticket or gone to, I don't know if there's a minimum or not, but of NXT shows, you can sometimes get invited. I got invited this week.
Nice.
I can't go. I've been invited for like the past month for weeks, but I can't. You won't invite me to the pay-per-view. I would have gone to that. But anyway. Yeah. So yeah, it is fans that get invited. But another thing about that is WWE is not always transparent with what happens, because I remember going to the Mae Young Classic, and Tegan Knox, it was Tegan Knox versus Rhea Ripley, and Tegan Knox blew out her ACL, and Triple H came out and said that she broke her leg. So it was like, maybe they didn't know at the time, but they were being very transparent with what happened, because it definitely didn't look like a broken leg. But anyway, so it's just one of those things. And the NXT people, the NXT fans get a little crazy in there sometimes. So it's like, oh my God, this happened. And they want to be the first person to report that it happened. And it was off air. It happened at 10:07. Like nobody saw it. Like I got to be the first one to report this. Right. It's got to be a lot of that too.
That's fair. That's totally fair. People get caught up. Yeah. Leech96 says, I actually really enjoyed the final hour of Raw this week. The gauntlet match was brilliant. WWE knows how to do a gauntlet match. Aaron, would you agree?
I liked, my favorite part of it was when it was Drew McIntyre versus Randy Orton, and Randy went to the outside and Alexa popped up on all of the video screens, like creepy Alexa. I thought that was awesome. And then he came back in and immediately ate a Claymore, which was great. And I loved that Drew McIntyre stuff. It was excellent. And I like that Alexa Bliss has brought the Fiend back in a pentagram. That was great. Loved all that. So they do gauntlet matches pretty well for a company that can't seem to put good storylines together. But yeah, every once in a while, a blind squirrel finds a nut.
Fair enough. Jesus. Lich96 also says, I'm also hearing Sheamus may win the title at Elimination Chamber, and then for Fastlane, Drew to win it back, because Fastlane is the first pay-per-view on Peacock, I believe. That's certainly possible. And Aaron, there was a picture that Drew McIntyre posted today of him as a young man standing in front of a young Sheamus, and it seems to be maybe predicting or foreshadowing what we may be seeing at Elimination Chamber this weekend.
Yeah, I hope that doesn't happen. I'm going to sell that does happen, or if we're doing a little buy and sell here. Even though WWE is moving to Peacock and Fastlane will be the first pay-per-view on Peacock, why wouldn't you just have Drew McIntyre win it at WrestleMania? Like, what's going to happen at WrestleMania then? Yeah. Like, if Sheamus is able to win at the Elimination Chamber, shouldn't he hold it till WrestleMania so Drew could have another moment? Yeah. Like, I just don't see Drew losing the title. I mean, I think that's something they want to keep on him. Yeah. I think it's quite obvious now that it's not going to be Drew and Edge. I think it's going to be Edge and Roman Reigns, and it's going to be Sheamus and Drew, I think, is where they're going to go. So I just want to see Drew McIntyre hold it for that time. I don't want to see Sheamus win, because number one, Sheamus is boring and has never really endeared me at all. Yeah. So that's what I want to see. I don't think that they'll do it. I think they may find some nefarious way for Sheamus to lose, to where it's like, oh, you never beat me, you son of a bitch, or something like that. Right. And then they challenge at WrestleMania and ultimately does lose. So there you go.
Okay. All right. Well, that's all the Streamlabs Super Chat so far. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for keep sending them in as we go along through the show. And we will read them and respond to them as quickly as we can. You see the Streamlab address right above Aaron's head, or it's pinned in the chat. So please, we love doing the show every week. We could use the support as well from all of you to keep the lights on here in the Outlaw Nation, keep us doing this show. All right. What are we on to next, brother?
Oh, this is a fun story. So Casey Cat and Zaro responds to criticism after a video surfaces of her without a mask following her excellent COVID PSA. If you guys haven't seen this, it's excellent. So on her Twitter, Casey Cat and Zaro went through this long PSA about wearing your mask and social distancing and being responsible and all this. We talked about this a few weeks ago.
Yes, we did.
And it's so funny because later on, at a New Year's party, there's Cat and Zaro and her boyfriend Ricochet kicking it No mask, no mask, brother. And then in the past week, there was an Instagram story of Cat and Zaro at a bar in Florida. Shout out Florida. Maskless as well. So Cat and Zaro, a bit of a hypocrite here, but did come out and respond to all this because she was getting absolutely destroyed on Twitter.
Yeah.
Deactivated her Twitter account. So let me read a little bit of this just so we can get, she said, "What's up, Twitter? Just wanted to get on here and talk to everyone for a minute. I know people are concerned that I was at a restaurant over the weekend. I want you to know that I hear you and appreciate your concern. Here where I live in Florida, shout out, restaurants are open to a certain capacity. We wear a mask when we go in, when we leave. Really, anytime we aren't sitting down at our table, we have to have a mask. But when we are sitting down to eat or drink, people are allowed to take their masks off. And I know that's the part that people saw and were upset with. I'm sorry for anybody that is upset, and I understand you're concerned, and I want you to know that I do care about the safety of others around me, myself, and I follow all of the protocol. Luckily for me, with the work, we get tested at least once a week, if not twice, in some situations, and I carry my hand sanitizer with me everywhere, and everywhere that we have to, I wear my mask. I'm sorry that this moment made people think otherwise, but I just want you all to know that I hear you. I appreciate the concern. I'm looking out for the safety of others around me, as well as taking care of myself the best I can, and I wish the best for everybody else." And then she blew a kiss. So, okay. My immediate thoughts on this are busted. That's my immediate thoughts on this, because AEW had I don't know if this was at AEW where this happened, but like AEW had a big New Year's Eve party at the wherever that Daly's place, wherever they do Dynamite. Okay. And Adam Cole was there, and with his girlfriend Dr. Britt Baker, they didn't have masks on either. So it's like, what are we doing here? I know Florida's a little bit. Let me tell you a little bit of how it goes in Florida. Okay,
break it down, Aaron. Break it down.
Yeah, it goes in Florida. We are basically under no restrictions.
Yep.
Okay, that's how it is in Florida. I know when people hear that, I may have triggered a few of you by just saying what I just said, but in reality, here in Florida, I can go to the grocery store, I can go to Target, I can go to a restaurant, I can go anywhere that I want, pretty much, no problem. The only place I can't go is like a Chinese buffet, because none of them are open, and why the fuck would you want to go to a buffet? But more or less, everything is open. Now, there are places that have social distancing, there are places that don't. Yeah. And that is something that the governor or whoever, Congress, whatever in Florida passed, that you don't have to do that anymore. That you don't have to do the 6 feet if you don't want to. Some restaurants enforce it, some don't. I've been to both. I tend not to go to the places that don't enforce it because that's insane. But it's a different world here in Florida. And I know people want to shit on Florida for that, and I totally get it. But Cat and Zaro can't be seen without a mask when you're having this PSA, when you have people in the WWE that have tested positive for COVID. Allegedly, that's why Steve Cutler got released. You just can't be doing it. Like, you can't be having Instagram stories like, "Hey, I'm chilling with my girlfriends at a bar without my mask on." Even though it's cool to do that in Florida, I get, like, it's fine to do that. You're well within your right to do that here in Florida. You can't do it. As a personality, as a social presence, as a former winner of American Ninja Warrior, people know who you are.
Yeah.
And if you're going to put out this PSA about social distancing and wearing a mask, it just makes you look like a fool.
Yeah.
I can't get into
it. No, these are young people, man, and sometimes it's ironic because young people are always making fun of old people about technology or whatever, but it's these young people who are always getting smoked by the technology they supposedly are so on top of and know so much about. How can you not know that there are cameras, that there are videos, and that they're not going to put, like, how can you not think ahead and think, well, I'm out in the public eye, I've got to do this. I get it. You want to, you're Casey Cat and Zaro, and in your mind, you're still just Casey Cat and Zaro, and you're hanging out with your people, you're hanging out with your friends. I totally get it. But you don't get that luxury anymore. This is the exchange of fame. You're going to get called to the mat. You're going, so to speak, you're going to get called out when you do stupid shit. And this is the exchange of fame. Yes, you can have all the money and notoriety, but you're also going to get a crap ton of scorn. And so much so that you're going to delete your social media account, which I never understand why people do that. Just to walk away from it. How about you just don't use it or create the
app?
or create a delete the app or create a phantom account. Then you can just still scroll and follow the people you want to follow and not even engage with your Twitter account other than posting your posts and let it be. So to me, this running away shit, once you get inundated by social media messages, drives me insane. Take your punishment. Stand up. Now, I appreciate the statement that she released. It's a very considerate statement. It's a conscientious statement, and I appreciate it. And she is explaining her position on the situation. Now, you're right. When we have restrictions here in California, but you can take off your mask once you sit down at the table, which are 6 feet apart and then some. And you can I usually wait till the food comes. Then after we eat the food, put the mask back on because you just never know. And so that's fine. So I don't think anybody should be going after her for taking off the mask when they eat. That being said, though, the idea of seeing all those people that she's sitting in with, like 10 people there without masks on, how do you know that all those people don't have it? That's the thing that drives me nuts. When I see people maskless hanging out at bars with multiple friends, I go insane because I go, there's no way all of you have been fucking tested before you hung out with each other. There's just no way. And so to me, I look at that situation and that's the thing that's dangerous, which is why I think she's rightfully being called out. I appreciate her explanation, but she's also got to understand if you're going to do this PSA, people are going to watch you and judge you a little more harshly than other people. You chose to do the PSA, then you're choosing the consequences and the benefits of that PSA as well. So rightfully getting called out by people. And maybe this is a red state 2 thing as well, Aaron. Like a lot of these wrestlers do kind of align with red state points of views and values. A lot of red state people don't believe in that mask stuff, don't believe in that kind of crap. And so they don't, it's not crap, but don't believe in that stuff. And they don't want to do it. So maybe they get caught up hanging out with their friends, thinking they're gloating a little bit for those red state fans. But there are other people who have lost loved ones who do watch pro wrestling and see this stuff and are going to call her out for it. Rightfully so.
It's crazy, dude. Like, yeah. I can only express like going to the store around here, and lately I've noticed it's like, and this may be a toxic masculinity thing, I don't know. Yeah. But I've noticed a lot lately. I was talking to my wife about this. She said she sees it all the time because she works at retail, right? And she said, or I was telling her that I've seen nothing but like younger, like probably mid-20s couples where the one person, like the lady, wears the mask and does all that kind of stuff. The guy doesn't. Right. And I'm just like, what the fuck is this? Like, what? Anyway, toxic. It is the idea of toxic masculinity. It's masks have come to symbolize for the more conservative people. And I've seen this and talk with people who are masks have come to symbolize somehow weakness or that you're less of a man if you wear a mask, which is, of course, one of the dumbest things in the world. It does really convey a level of ignorance and unintelligent and just unintelligent behavior overall, because the virus doesn't give 2 shits how much of a man you are. It is going to get you. And you're seeing the reports that came out in the New York Times. Trump was almost killed by this thing, regardless of what he's trying to show to everybody. The doctors themselves who are there spoke about it to the New York Times and talked about how close he actually came to being on a ventilator and possibly dying, how low his oxygen levels are. So it's been incredibly toxic to have people who should be better about dealing with this, should be better speaking about this, trying to act like they're men. It's that old school bullshit that should just go the fuck away once and for all, to be honest with you. So yeah, it's just, I know we're not a political show, but it's just something I wanted to bring up because I get so sick and tired of seeing it around here. And it's like, you are the person that's being pointed out as the dumbass. Like when you're in a room full of people or a place that has a bunch of like people with their face coverings on or whatever, and you look like a jackass. Yeah. And I can't express that enough. By the way, saw a dude at Walmart the other day with a baller Sub-Zero face mask on. Ooh. And I had to tell him. I was like, dude, this rocks. But anyway, like it was awesome. But anyway, shout out to the Mortal Kombat trailer.
Yeah, that was a good trailer.
It was pretty good.
Moving on. No Streamlabs or Super Chats have come in, no new ones. So let's move on to our next thing. Please keep sending them in, ladies and gentlemen. If you've got some questions or comments, you got some predictions for the Elimination Chamber, we're going to talk about that in just a little bit. So what's next, Aaron?
This is something we might have a disagreement on, and that is some WWE wrestlers lashed out at the WWE on Fox Twitter account over this build your own female wrestling team for $15. And it's one of those tiered things where like some were $1, some were $2, $3, $4, $5, and so on. And you had your you got the tier. Okay, good. You got the post there. Yeah. So yeah, you got in your dollar tier, you have Liv Morgan, Ruby Riott, Natty, Peyton Royce, and so on and so forth, up to your top tier, which is the 4 horsewomen, more or less.
Yeah.
And some people took some exception to this, especially Natalia, who's in the $1 tier. Let me just go ahead and read what Natalia said real quick, because oh boy. Says Natalia says, I have struggled for years to figure out exactly what my worth is, but I won't allow anyone to pick a number for me. As hurtful as it is seeing this, I want it to be known that if I ever find myself under all these wonderful women, it's because I am a pillar and a foundation of what we're doing. So please keep the $1, because anyone who knows anything knows how priceless I am.
Yeah, yeah.
John, do you put any goddamn clout into what, like,
yeah,
what do you think about this?
Okay, well, let me break it down the way I see this, right? I understand where Natty is coming from, and I certainly understand where a lot of these women are coming from, because remember, Aaron, 10 years ago women's wrestling was laughed at. Remember, it's taken the last decade for these women to really reinforce and promote and push that women's wrestling matters. And now some of those matches are main events at pay-per-views. We saw it at WrestleMania just 2 years ago, a main event triple threat match that was for the women's title. So they have worked so hard, and so many women have come along and laid the groundwork to kind of get male fans and male wrestlers to give them the respect they deserve. So to see them quantified in this way by the official WWE on Fox Twitter account is insulting, and I understand it. If it was some random idiot putting this stuff together, I think you could complain about it, not complain about it, talk about whatever. That's fine. But I think because it was their employer doing this and essentially placing value on their own fucking talent, and I'm not saying Fox owns them, right? But I'm saying WWE on Fox is literally an account that's supposed to be about the WWE official account. Ryan Satin, our friend Satin, has his stuff posted by them all the time because he works for them. But to see them do it this way, I thought I understand where they found offense. This happened on the men's side of thing a few months ago, and some people were using that and saying, well, the dudes didn't complain. Yeah, because dudes have been the premier thing in wrestling for decades. It's women who have just only over the last decade finally achieved some level of respect in this business. So I do get it, because we do this with sports figures, superheroes. We saw this has happened on multiple things. It's just when it's an official, do you know what I'm saying? It starts to kind of become I mean, think about it. If Marvel did a post like this and Captain Marvel was at the $2 level, Brie Larson would have lost her shit. And that's a fair thing, because you want to be respected. What if Wanda was at the $3 level instead of the $5 level? That's what it comes down to. Do I agree with the designations? That's a separate conversation. Alexa's a $5 one, in my opinion. But that being said, I just think it was poor form by an official account connected to your brand to put something out like this.
Well, I'm so glad that you mentioned the Scarlet Witch, because I have an article from Cinema Blend published last year on April 22nd, where they did this with the Avengers.
Yes.
Pick your $15 team, build your own Avengers team, and Scarlet Witch is in the $2 tier.
Yeah.
You know who else is in the $2 tier? Happy Hogan, Nebula, Drax, and Rocket. Right. And apparently people got really pissed about it. Well, you know what? Who gives a shit? It doesn't matter. Well, you know who's in the $1 tier? Fucking Vision.
Yeah. Well, not anymore, but he certainly was at the time. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, oh my God. But anyway, I
think you can understand, though.
Dude,
right?
This is so overblown and so stupid, and boo freaking who that someone wanted to play a game and you got sad because they put you at $1. It doesn't mean anything. Like, it means absolutely nothing. Like, oh, I feel like my self-worth was punched in the gut because they think I'm worthy of a $1 wrestler. One fucking account thinks you are. Not nobody. And I don't even think they do. By the way, WWE on Fox on Twitter rules. Like, their account rules.
It is
it's an excellent follow. I'm sorry that this happened and that it made her feel that way, but it's one account. And I know that it was a corporate account and like maybe that was a kick in the nuts, but nobody is saying that. Like nobody's saying like Natty, you're only worth $1.
Right.
Because if she was, they would have fired her ass a long time ago. I mean, this is completely overblown, completely absurd. And I saw that like Shelton Benjamin tweeted that, they owe the women of the roster, they should apologize to each and every one of them that are on this list. It's like, nobody cares that much. I just want to let everybody know that I don't care. This is so stupid. Yeah.
But you're a dude saying that, man. So
I am a dude
what it's like
that.
to be a woman looking at this and having your value placed in a patriarchal society. What that must be like to see yet another account place value on you at a certain level.
Let's play a little fantasy here.
Sure.
Let's fantasy book this. Let's say that somebody does this for the Schmodown. You have your top. Let's build your Schmodown team for $15, and they say,
good luck doing that for the Schmodown and not getting absolute backlash.
That's what I'm saying. Like it doesn't matter where it comes from. It's just it's never going to jive with anybody. Like John Rocha is not. He's on the $4 tier. Well, this is bullshit. And Laura Kelly's on the $3 tier. How dare you? She's like the greatest Star Wars player there ever was. And and Molly Damon's on the $1 tier. She's nice enough to be on the second tier. This is ridiculous. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's so stupid. It's just a fun game that you play with the Avengers. You play with My Little Pony. Like, build your own team. And it's so overblown and stupid. I can't even believe that anybody would acknowledge it. You just look at a tweet like that and you just go, huh, and move on. I don't get it.
All right. Well, I mean, I tried to explain it as much as I could, and I respect if you don't get it, but I think that's where these women were coming from. And I totally get it because like I said, they have spent decades trying to be taken seriously as professional wrestlers and endured so many taunts. To see a verified brand that literally has WWE in its name and is connected to them, try to put value on them. I think you have to be a little more sensitive nowadays about how you handle things with women in our society. And I think rightfully so, because for many years, man, we kind of stepped on their contributions, stepped on what they could do. They make less than men and all of that. So you got to kind of factor all that in when you're doing something like this. I get that it was probably a fun thing and they were thinking of putting it up and it'd be cool. And they did it with the men a few months ago. So they thought it wasn't a big deal. But clearly they saw it bit him in the ass and they took it down. So clearly enough people cared that they took it down. And the same thing happened to ESPN the other day too, Aaron. This is yet another thing related to women. Simone Biles, the gymnast, she saw what ESPN posted, but who's your GOAT? Who's your favorite GOAT? And it was all dudes. There were no women, no Serena, nobody was in that list. And she said that's disrespectful to women. That's in essence claiming that they're not as worthy as these men are to be considered GOATs overall in the world of sports. So that's where it comes from, is this feeling of that they haven't had their worth recognized, realized, and valued for many, many decades in their business. So, but I get your point, of course, but I just think this is where a lot of these ladies were coming from.
I understand that, but to me, it's no different than a top 10 list. Like the WWE would post the top 10 list, and
you can make an argument for that for sure.
Becky Lynch is number 1, Natalia's number 8, and then Natalia's like, well, I feel like I'm being undervalued at number 8. Okay, well, it's just a list. It's a subjective, it's so.
I think
that ESPN list I do take exception with, because if you're not gonna have Serena Williams on the GOAT list, are you out of your friggin' mind? She's definitely a GOAT for sure.
There's quite a number of female tennis players, for God's sakes. But
Steffi Graf, baby. Steffi Graf.
Steffi was fucking fantastic. You're absolutely right, brother. But this is the same thing. But I think what the difference is between the top 10 and this, actually, I don't think it's the same thing, is the dollar value, Aaron. There's something about a dollar value.
Yeah, you're right about that.
That's the thing that I think is really at the genesis of this, paying for women. I just think there's a little bit of a working on a subconscious level that women catch that and really sense that that's an incorrect thing to do. I get your point of view, though. Absolutely. It's just a list, whatever. But I think when you look at it in context and you pull out the bigger picture, and I wouldn't be surprised if it was a dude who was running that account who posted
100%. 100%.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to a couple of super chats here. And of course, some of y'all are on Aaron's side, and I totally respect it. I don't think anybody's on my side, but that's all right. We're just having conversations. Yeah. Leech 96 says, I'm guessing there won't be a women's chamber match this year. Also, there are no women on the chamber card at the moment. Oh, I don't think that's true. Is that true?
Asuka was supposed to face Lacey Evans. That's not going to happen now. So they're probably going to either take that match off or replace it. But I read today that they're going to add 2 chamber matches tonight on SmackDown, or not 2 chamber matches, but 2 additional matches to the card. So we may get a women's title match, and we may get a SmackDown women's title match, and we may get a chamber. We'll just have to wait and see.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Chris Taylor says the Hart family takes things too seriously.
That's true also. Well, they take everything to heart, I guess you could say. But no, it's true. Brett takes stuff way too seriously. And it flows downhill.
Yeah. Eric Conley say they did it with the men too. I hope I explained to Eric where you got it. Yes, they did it with the men, but the men have always been at the forefront of professional wrestling, so it's not a big deal on the men's side of things. And Steve, I've got any super chats before we move on to our next thing. No Streamlabs. So
another super chat came in.
Oh, here we go. Leech 96. You guys ready for another Bobby Lashley versus Matt Riddle U.S. title match this Sunday? Because Keith Lee has been pulled. Is that correct?
Great.
Is that correct?
I was really looking forward to that match too. I did not know that Keith. Now I got to look this up. I didn't know that Keith Lee was being pulled from the card.
I mean, Matt Riddle just Yeah, okay. Wow. Yeah, take a look. We were talking about it last night. And shout out to the fine people over there at ESPN San Antonio. We were just on last night. Aaron Turner and I were on last night. For their podcast or their show that they do, Down for the Count. Yep. Dan Selena and I, Dan Selena was so great to have us onto his show. And we had a great time talking and previewing Elimination Chamber with them. So if you want, find them on YouTube and watch us. They were on for like 15 minutes, right around the half an hour mark. We were on for 15, 20 minutes talking about the chamber. Yeah, what were you saying?
I mean, Keith Lee being pulled, that was like the match I was actually anticipating because I thought they were going to give the U.S. title to Keith Lee. And it looks like it's not going to work. I don't know why he was pulled. If somebody can give me a little bit more information on that, I would appreciate it so I don't have to go scroll during the show. But I will definitely look into that. That sucks because I was really looking forward to that.
Yep. All right. Well, there you go. So it's for real? He is pulled?
I'm not seeing that, but that doesn't mean it's not true.
Okay. So anybody else seeing?
Unless someone tagged me in it. No one tagged me in it yet. So,
okay. All right. Let me see.
I'm giving a quick Twitter look here.
All right. Do that. And let's see where we're at. We'll move on to the next thing. Oh yeah. Here, I'll take it while you look. How about this? Tessa Blanchard. Let's move on to Tessa Blanchard. A lot of rumors about where she might be going. Of course, she hasn't wrestled since she left Impact Wrestling on June 25th of last year, ladies and gentlemen. That's been over, 7 months now? We're into the 8th month, actually, of her not being in a wrestling ring. She is a free agent. But on AEW Dynamite's post-show, which we mentioned earlier, Tony Schiavone being on there was asked if AEW was considered bringing in Tesla to bolster their women's division. He said, yes, I don't think that's happening. That's weird. Yes, I don't think that's happening, said Schiavone when he asked to be any intel. He said, at least not anytime soon. I would have heard that if she's coming over. And Blanchard, of course, has yet to decide where she's going to be going. She's been waiting for the COVID situation to kind of die down a little bit. And plus, she's enjoying being married to Daga there. But also, Aaron, there's been a lot of issues. There were a lot of issues with her leaving Impact. A lot of accusations being lobbied back and forth. So maybe she was waiting for that noise to die down as well before she moved on and chose which federation she's going to be at. Do you think Schiavone is like putting a little smoke screen here and they are getting her on AEW, or is this the standard? It's been a few weeks. Let's get a Tessa Blanchard story up type thing.
I don't think anybody wants to touch her right now. I think what may happen is she may, if WWE is daring enough, she may be an NXT pickup. But the way that I see it, I don't think anybody wants to touch her. I don't think the heat has died down enough for her yet, even though it's almost been a year.
Right.
I mean, we're pretty close.
Yeah.
That she's been out of competition. So I could only see her in Mexico, where she has wrestled previously since leaving Impact. So that's the only place I can see her going. I wish this wasn't the case because she's uber talented and was one of my favorite female wrestlers until all this shit happened, and then can't support somebody like that. So I would like to see her, land somewhere so she can make a career, but that doesn't look like it's going to be in one of these top promotions.
Well, there you go. There you go. Leech96 says, I do believe Mia has COVID. His girlfriend, I believe.
From what I read, from what I found, this was from Wrestling Observer Radio. So that's Dave Meltzer and the gang. He said that there's a chance that Keith Lee may be removed from the triple threat match. His status is up in the air.
Okay.
But there's no word on why he would be removed, but he was not on this week's Monday Night Raw to hype the match. It is worth noting that Lee has only wrestled 4 times this year. So maybe that's why, but I don't know about that. So I'm going to pretend like he's still in it.
Okay.
We'll pretend like he's still in it until it's confirmed.
That's fair. I think that's fair. Yeah. All right. Let me grab a couple of these Streamlabs that have come through. Christine. Hello, Christine. She said, if you know your worth, the auction tweet would not affect you, as seen with Shayna and Bailey's responses. Yeah, Bailey, we did. You didn't mention that, Aaron, but let me follow up on that. Bailey did say, this is not a big deal because they'd use all $15. They'd use the $15 bill on me. Ha ha ha. So good response by her. I didn't see what Shayna responded, but I liked Bailey's response. She said, Christine goes on to say, however, I will not invalidate Natalya and Liv's opinion, especially because the tiers were based on dollar value and that could be demoralized. I think that's the key there. If you had put points, I don't think there'd be as much of a drama, but the dollar thing kind of, for whatever reason, really does affect that look for women. Christine said the tweet was deleted, but I would find it objectively problematic if that put the African-American women, if they had put the African-American women on the bottom tier, an auction list on Black History Month, that's a no for me, love. A great point by Christine. Yeah, if they had done that and put any African-American, I mean, of course, Bianca Belair was on there, I think at the $4 tier, but if they had put, and Sasha up at the $5 tier, but if they had put some of the African-American women at a certain lower tier or whatever at $1, I mean, I wonder how tone deaf that would have looked even more so, to be honest with you. So Christine brings up an excellent point. It's all about that money thing. That's the only reason that was an issue.
I'm trying to find I'm trying to find Shayna's response. It said it was in here in the main part of the story, but I'm not seeing it. Give me just a second.
Yeah. So we're seeing from the chat, looks like it's only speculation. Zeno Hour says, I heard Tessa Blanchard's offers from the Jesus. That's it. No, Zeno. I thought you were being serious for a second there. Should have known you were working me like Kyle O'Reilly, son. Working me like Kyle O'Reilly. All right. Well,
yeah, I got nothing. Let's move on.
Okay. Well, Aaron, let's move on to our prediction part of this thing. And if you want to send in any Streamlabs super chats right before we wrap up the show here, please feel free to send them in. But Aaron, let's get into our predictions and previews for the Elimination Chamber this weekend.
All right. As of this show, as of right now, there could be matches added. It could happen. But right now, this is the match card. These are the predictions. So here we go. First match, the United States Championship triple threat match as it stands right now, to be determined. Bobby Lashley versus Riddle versus Keith Lee. Who you got?
Bobby Lashley.
You think Bobby Lashley's going to retain?
Yes.
See, this is what I thought. I thought Keith Lee was going to win. So now I'm kind of thinking that if Keith Lee's on the fence, then maybe Riddle's going to win, or do they want to change the title at WrestleMania? I'm not sure. So I guess I will also go with Bobby Lashley now, since Keith Lee is kind of up in the air.
Yeah. If Keith Lee comes down out of the air and he's in the match, I got Keith Lee.
Fair enough. Okay. The Raw Women's Championship match, Asuka versus what was supposed to be Lacey Evans, but now she's actually pregnant. That's a shoot.
Yeah.
So she's a no-go. Do you think they will replace her, and who do they replace her with?
It's got to be with Charlotte. I think you absolutely set up the match here with Charlotte Flair. Maybe set up some deal with her taking the place of Lacey Evans. And look, her getting pregnant means Lacey is off the air, bro, for who knows how long. And we still haven't seen Becky since she even had her child. So Lacey's going to be gone for a while. So what do you do with that Ric Flair storyline you're building up? Do you now adjust Rick to...
No, throw in the trash.
Yeah, do you throw... Okay, all right. Well, there's a possibility here that Charlotte faces Asuka, but then Rick still comes out and messes with Charlotte a little bit, and Asuka gets the victory. That way, you still have a great match. Asuka still retains, and then you can decide what you want to do storyline-wise afterwards going forward now that Lacey's out, but you still keep that drama between Rick and the Queen, and you turn the Queen heel. You better turn the Queen heel. That's what she does best. This face bullshit has never worked on Charlotte. She is a great heel. So there you go.
Yeah, I tend to think that it will be Charlotte as well. I saw a lot of people online saying, "Oh, this is where Becky Lynch returns and beats Asuka." I don't think you're going to see that. I think if they really wanted to wow us, they would make it Ronda Rousey, but that's not going to happen either.
Oh, interesting.
It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. 0% chance. But it probably will end up being Charlotte, or someone swapping brands like a Carmella or somebody like that if she's not already facing Sasha Banks, or a Bayley. I think Bayley would be fun. If you
Bayley would be fun.
Slide her right in there. But it remains to be seen who it's going to be. Whoever it is, I think that Asuka will retain.
Who has the woman's Money in the Bank?
Nobody.
There never was one, or did it already cashed in?
No, Asuka won, and then Becky got pregnant, and then she just became the champion. So
never mind. Go ahead. Sorry.
Okay, the next one is the WWE Championship Elimination Chamber match. We talked about this a little bit earlier. Drew McIntyre versus Randy Orton versus Kofi Kingston versus Sheamus versus AJ Styles versus Jeff Hardy. Who you got in this one?
We said Cesaro last night, right? He's in this one?
No, that's the second one.
I'm sorry. So give me the things again.
Drew McIntyre, Randy Orton, Kofi Kingston, Sheamus, AJ Styles, Jeff Hardy.
Wow. I don't see how Drew McIntyre loses this one. Do you see Drew McIntyre losing this one? I feel like this is his still to win.
Yeah, I think he's going to retain. A lot of people were saying Kofi Kingston could pull it out and win and be the WWE champion again. I don't see it. I don't see AJ. I definitely don't see Jeff Hardy or Randy Orton. So that leaves me Drew McIntyre and Sheamus, and I got to go with Drew McIntyre over Sheamus. But
they'll probably end up being the last two, judging from what Drew said. I think Kofi's. I don't think you give him the belt now, dude. Unless you're going to give him a long run with it after what you did to him when you took the belt off of him. There's no way they put him on it now to have him lose it at WrestleMania. That makes no sense.
See, I think it's going to come down to Drew and Kofi. I think that's what it's going to come down to.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I think you can't put Drew and Sheamus one-on-one just yet. So I think Sheamus will lose to, like, I don't know, Randy or something, and then Kofi and Drew are going to ball out for the last slot for the championship, and Drew McIntyre wins.
Okay.
All right. So the next one we have is the SmackDown Elimination Chamber match. The winner of this will face Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship right after, which is great. This is Daniel Bryan versus Sami Zayn versus King Corbin versus Cesaro versus Kevin Owens versus Jey Uso. Who you got here?
Well, we talked about it last night on ESPN San Antonio, brother, on the Down for the Count show. We told Dan and Flying Mike that we thought Cesaro was going to win this thing. Makes the most sense. They've kind of been with that attack that Rollins did on him. They've been starting to move him towards a face categorization. So this will help him going forward, winning this match and then losing to Roman Reigns thanks to Rollins. I think that's what is going to end up essentially happening. What do you think?
100%. I think it's going to be the same thing. I think Cesaro is going to be all exhausted, and then he's going to put Roman Reigns through the paces. It's going to be a better match than we all think it's going to be. Cesaro is going to get that one moment where you think Cesaro is going to get the brass ring, then Seth Rollins is going to screw him over. That's exactly what's going to happen.
A lot of people have been talking online about Miz possibly storming in at one of these two matches and cashing in his Money in the Bank. Do you think that's going to happen? Or do you think they'll wait till WrestleMania for that?
I think they'll wait till WrestleMania is over because Miz is going to be doing stuff with Bad Bunny. So that's pretty much solidified. It, the good old Bad Bunny is going to come.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. I mean, because the possibility could be that Cesaro wins, then beats Reigns for the title. And he's gone through 6 dudes, Aaron. He is wrecked. And Miz comes in and cashes it in and gives him the finisher. And
that would make Miz like the uber heel for sure for doing that, but I don't think it's going to happen.
All right. Fair enough. All right. Any other things to get to here? Oh, yeah. We have one more super chat that came in, I think, from Leech 96. Thank you, Leech, for being such a great contributor today.
Thanks,
says, I managed to listen to the Kurt Angle show with Conrad Thompson. What a listen that is. Went through the WrestleMania 19 match with Brock Lesnar. The shooting star was Kurt Angle's idea. Definitely recommend. So recommending us listening to that. Okay.
I haven't caught the Kurt Angle show yet, but I definitely want to. I'm a big fan of Conrad and what Conrad does.
Yeah.
So I will definitely check that out. I just haven't got to it yet. I haven't actually listened to a lot of podcasts since we've been on, since I've been home working from home, which is really weird because when I was at work, I'd listen to podcasts all the time. And now that I'm at home, I don't. There's just so many different distractions. I got dogs. I got all kinds of shit going on here. So Yeah. So, but I will definitely check that out, Leech. And I will get my backlog of there's only been like 3 episodes, I think, of the credits.
Yeah.
It's brand new. Yeah. So I will definitely check that out for sure.
Jonathan Flores wants to know, Rocha, why you don't like Bad Bunny? No, I like Bad Bunny. Don't get me wrong. I just, I don't know, man. I'm not a fan of people coming in and doing stuff with the top tier talent, because wrestling is a very, very difficult thing to do. People work their whole lives to get an opportunity to work a program. I get the celebrity aspect of it all. And Bunny did a way better job than Snoop or anybody else did. So I'm okay with it. I just want it to be over with, and let's move on back to professional wrestling.
Add it to the list of things that Rocha hates. Make it Aruba. Since Bad Bunny's from Aruba,
I love Aruba.
Put Aruba on the list of New Zealand and Australia.
No, I like New Zealand. Australia is another conversation.
Who else? Like, I don't know who's feuding with the Washington football team. The Dallas Cowboys hates them too. Carson Wentz going to the Colts. Get him out of here.
Oh, good move for the Colts. That's for sure.
It really was.
All right. Well, let's wrap it up there at 5 o'clock. Thanks to everybody for watching this live episode of Strong Style. Really appreciate it. Thanks for all the Streamlabs and Super Chats as well. Oh boy.
I love that. I love that. I know we're not going to acknowledge it, but I love that.
I'm not reading it. Aaron, where can people find you? Anything you got going on, my man?
You can find me on Twitter at @OnlyAaronTurner. And guys, here's a little pro tip for you. You want to make a little money? This is not a sponsored ad at all. NBA Top Shot, you're welcome.
Yeah.
NBA Top Shot, guys.
You know that I've been calling those matches every Thursday for the last couple of weeks on Thursday nights.
I know you need to slide me some of them NBA Top Shot codes.
I need to get some of them. I mean,
dude, I'm telling you, we need to we need to talk off air about this. I'm telling you.
Maybe we can find a time, because Ellis was in the queue. They didn't even give Ellis any of them. He had to wait in the queue. Oh, yeah. If Ellis isn't getting
I got a pack.
I got it. Yeah.
I got a pack and then sold it for a lot of money. Let's just say that.
Well, our producer, we told the story a couple of weeks ago, the producer on the show, bought a pack, got it, sold the LeBron one for, I think, $1,000. He bought
Unreal.
It for $250, and it's now $100,000. And he's like, oh my God, what have I done? So, yeah, you just never know. I got to get online and get some of those as well. All right. Well, thanks, everybody, for watching. You can follow me at The Rocha Says on Twitter and on Instagram. Remember to subscribe to the channel down below. We're about to cross 16,000 subscribers, and a large reason is because of all the content we have on the show and the great viewers and listeners who watch our stuff. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe down below. Give this video a like. Leave a comment for those of you watching afterwards. And please tell your friends and family about this show. Our numbers have been a bit down on the main show, so we'd like to get them back up to over 1,000 views as well, because our watch-alongs have been doing well, and we'd be remiss not to mention we will be doing an Elimination Chamber watch-along this weekend on Sunday night again. It might just be me doing it. I'm not sure if Aaron can come on. Not sure if Jay can make it. So it might just be you guys hanging out with me doing the watch along. And maybe I'll bring some of y'all in live to watch along with me as we're doing it all. So that's all a possibility. I'll announce it over the weekend, but that is scheduled to be happening this weekend. We've been enjoying the views and the comments on those watch alongs. So thank you all so very, very much. All right. That's it from us here on Strong Style. Please go and watch the Schmodown. It's happening right now over there on the Schmodown Entertainment Network. It's $5.99. If you're not a subscriber for their Patreon, if you're a $10 above subscriber, it's free. So go and enjoy 2 colossal matches that are happening right now over there on SCN. And we'll talk to you next week with another brand new live episode of Strong Style.